Tonight, the Premier provides a budget preview. Flights resume to Puerto Vallarta for Saskatchewan travelers. And a similar life sentence for Jason McKay in his retrial for murder.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. From tariffs to increased spending on things like healthcare, the provincial budget is expected to run in the red again this spring. Today, Premier Scott Moe dropped some hints on what you can expect weeks before it's released. Keenan Sorkon has more.
So you'll see a deficit in a couple of weeks in this province.
Scott Moe has hard truths about the upcoming provincial budget. Speaking at a North Saskatoon Business Association luncheon, he says there will be a deficit as the United States resets trade relationships with countries across the globe, and that will be felt here in Saskatchewan.
How do you want to deal with these revenue numbers that aren't where they should be? And we are going to make the choice to protect Saskatchewan services.
Moe says his government won't raise taxes to make up for the lost revenue. He says things like policing and safety, healthcare, and education will remain a priority, and used BC's recent budget, which projects more than a $13 billion deficit, as an example. He says Saskatchewan's will be a lot less than the per capita comparison of about $3 billion, but wouldn't get into specifics.
You'll have to wait till budget day with respect to where next year's budget will be at.
Moe wouldn't say if the deficit would approach $1 billion, but if you combine the province's mid-year update of a $427 million deficit and the recent $650 million of special warrants or government-authorized spending whenever a legislature is not in session, then the deficit will surpass the $1 billion mark.
I don't trust this government's ability to bring a real budget forward or to deliver the full financial picture of the province.
Moe wouldn't say where cuts or clawbacks would happen, but pointed to technological advances like virtual care over the last few years, allowing people to see a doctor remotely as one way to save. Finance Minister Jim Ryder is expected to table the provincial budget on March 18th. Keenan Sorkon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
After a brief pause on flights to Puerto Vallarta, Canadian Airlines are resuming their routes to the Mexican vacation hotspot. This afternoon, a flight took off from Regina, and Jacob Carr spoke to a few of the passengers about their thoughts heading to a place where cartels caused chaos a few days ago.
Everybody we've talked to down there, though, says it's one day, it'll be better tomorrow, it'll be done. So we'll see.
Jackie Hall and Blaine Queering were just two of many sun seekers heading to Puerto Vallarta on a WestJet flight. Flights have fully resumed to the Mexican hotspot after all of Monday's trips were canceled due to violence and civil unrest in the region. The couple says what they have seen and heard online from Puerto Vallarta puts them at ease about traveling there.
I was watching some videos last night. There's guys walking around taking videos yesterday morning, and everything was calm and cool and collected. So we're going to give it a shot.
The Regina Airport Authority is also happy that things have gone back to normal after the brief delay, with Mexico being a popular destination for YQR travelers during the winter months.
When it comes to sun destinations, Cancun is the #1 in the winter in terms of passenger volume, but is followed very closely by Puerto Vallarta, and this is certainly impactful for many vacationers. Just happy for southern Saskatchewan they can get back on that warm holiday.
Regarding travelers that had to extend their stay in Mexico, both major Canadian airlines offered statements to CTV News. WestJet saying their priority is reaccommodating guests who were scheduled to return on Sunday and Monday, and that additional flights have been added to accommodate these customers. Air Canada mentioning they are operating 3 return flights from Puerto Vallarta today, and for 2 of those flights, the airline is operating using larger aircraft to bring back customers whose flights had been cancelled, saying they will continue to use their bigger planes until all affected customers have had a chance to travel. As for today's passengers, including Hall and Queering, the focus is on trading snow for fun in the sun. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
After pleading guilty for a second time, Jason McKay appeared in court to hear what sentence he would receive for the 2017 murder of his wife, Jenny. McFavel was at court and has the details.
1 month after relenting a guilty plea to second-degree murder, Jason McKay has been sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 17 years for the 2017 death of his wife, Jenny McKay.
There was a trial of this matter several years ago, and this guilty plea this time around was entered on the eve of what was supposed to be a second trial. This sentencing judge imposed the same parole and eligibility that the first judge did, and we're grateful for that, and we think it's an appropriate sentence.
In the early morning of September 6, 2017, Jason McKay stabbed Jenny McKay 24 times. According to an agreed statement of facts, some wounds were made post-mortem. Jason McKay has been behind bars since the murder, initially receiving a second-degree murder conviction in 2020 with no chance of parole for 17 years. A successful appeal led to a second trial, but McKay re-entered a guilty plea just before it was set to begin. During sentencing submissions earlier this month, victim impact statements were read from Jenny's family, detailing the grief going through the court process again. After McKay's guilty plea, Jenny's father said he was glad there would not be another trial.
In this case, sadly for the family of Jenny, it has taken a lot of years to conclude, more than is typical, but we're certainly grateful that it's finally concluded today.
McKay appeared in a gray jumpsuit and was quiet when the sentence was handed down. He will be eligible for parole in the year 2043. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
The public's perception of Regina police is staying steady, according to a new survey from RPS. 85% of respondents said they felt confident calling 911 if police assistance was needed, with satisfaction scores ranging from 3.8 to 4.0 out of 5. Indigenous respondents reported lower overall feelings of safety. In some areas where respondents suggested police have room to improve was in visibility in high crime areas and a larger community, better youth engagement, and building the community police relationship.
You know, 2025 was a bit of a rocky year for RPS, but the fact that those results and those numbers are still pretty high, feel good. That shows that we're certainly doing things in the right way. And it just gives us a little bit more focus moving forward for 2026 and beyond.
The survey results are indicative of early positive reception as well for the Alternative Response Officer program that launched last year. The RPS Community Perception Survey is carried out every other year by the U of R's Department of Justice Studies. All right, Sierra D'Souza Butts joins us for our first look at weather, and a little warmer, still cool today, but we're getting closer to those warm temperatures.
Kind of late. I wish I could say otherwise, but it is going to stay a bit colder for the rest of the week. There wasn't that much wind today, though, so that is the plus side. In terms of the almanac, we'll take a look of what is to come. It was colder, as Lee said. Compared to last year, today was colder. If we look at what the average was for today, we did see a high of close to minus 13 and a low of minus 16 compared to last year. Again, it was just below that +1 for that high, and then a minus 7.2 for that low. In terms of the radar satellite, if we look at what the theme was throughout the day, not much active weather in the majority of the province, specifically in the Regina area. As for what's to come later tonight, again, those cold temperatures will stay, but I'll have more for you later in the main weather.
Thank you. Not minus 30. That's the good news for sure. As tech companies expand into our province, local communities are forced to weigh resident concerns with the goal of having what could be the future of technology. It comes as the RM of Edenwald grapples with proposed bylaw amendments to allow data centers in its boundaries. Donovan Mace has more.
Ratepayers in the RM of Edenwald are speaking out against the possibility of AI data centers being built near their community.
This might be the time to say just say no.
Delegates speaking at an RM hearing raising concerns about water security, power usage, and pollution, while industry stakeholders and developers look for a balance.
What I think is a very reasonable text amendment.
Edenwald is considering amendments to its zoning bylaws, which would allow data centers in its boundaries as described discretionary use in industrial zones. That means any future project would require final council approval before anything could be built.
It's just too soon.
Discussions come after a separate application by Bell Canada, the parent company of CTV News, to build a large data center campus in the RM of Sherwood. Jewel Wendler is one of more than 6,600 people who have signed a petition against it.
We don't know enough about AI to even welcome this into our community yet. I just don't think there's a place for them. I think that, if anything, AI is hindering our overall development as a society.
In response to CTV News, Bell Canada says as it works to deliver sovereign AI infrastructure, it regularly engages with municipalities and other stakeholders through established planning and regulatory processes. Edenwald Reeve, Al Trainer, says councillors across the province are now being faced with a tough decision with several unknowns.
It can be difficult. Some businesses, fit right in. Water is a big thing in our RM. Like say we're in a semi-arid area, and there's lots of development that draws on the aquifers that we have.
Now, Edenwald Council has tabled a vote on its proposed bylaw changes to its next council meeting scheduled for March 9th. Donovan May, CTV News, Emerald Park.
Well, today marks 4 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Students at the University of Saskatchewan gathered to remember those impacted and reflect on how the war continues to shape lives thousands of kilometers away. Carla Shinkaruk has more.
A few days later, everything changes.
This is Solomia Kulik, a U of S student who moved to Saskatoon from Ukraine in 2024. The changes she's talking about happened when Russia started attacks on Ukraine.
Today, here we are, it's 4th anniversary. I couldn't even imagine on the first days that it will take that long, and I don't know for how long it will be.
She joins others inside STM College at the U of S, where dozens mark the solemn 4th anniversary since the war started.
Commemorating 4 years of the war is really important. It shows that Ukraine is not alone in this war. They have everyone here in Canada supporting them and all over the world.
For some, this isn't just a moment of reflection, it's deeply personal.
4 years ago, I remember waking up at 5 in the morning to the sounds of bombing 2 blocks away from where I was living.
Nikita Soretta was studying in Ukraine when the war broke out. Eventually, he made it back home to Canada.
As Ukrainians here in the diaspora and for those that are still in Ukraine, this is our fight for resilience and our fight for the freedom of our beloved homeland, Ukraine.
Since the war started, interest in the Ukrainian Students Association has grown. They now have 80 members.
We have grown significantly, especially this year.
She says young people on campus want to add their voices and their support as the war continues. Support, Kulik says, means more than ever, as she believes Ukraine is receiving less attention in the headlines now, even though the realities on the ground haven't changed.
Ukrainian people are still under attacks, and Russia is still killing people.
She says she worries every day about her family and friends still living through the war, hoping that one day the anniversary they mark will be the last. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The pride of Moose Jaw, the Canadian Snowbirds, are heading back to Vancouver Island this summer. Canada's aerobatic military pilot team has once again chosen 19-wing Comox Air Base for spring training. It's the 55th year for the Snowbirds, with shows planned across the country and the U.S. this summer. The team normally trains, of course, in Moose Jaw, but it does like to train in different terrain.
Also gives them the opportunity to fly over water, which we don't really have much of here in Moose Jaw. So for that aspect of training, we need to have that, because we do overwater shows, so we need to be able to train over water, because the experience is different for the pilots between flying over water compared to land.
Training will take place between April 18th and May 9th, with the birds in the air 2 to 3 times a day, 6 days a week.
Still ahead, Ottawa is questioning tech giant OpenAI on what they knew about the Tumbler Ridge masked shooter. And the shooter's brother is arrested for attempted murder.
Greetings, everyone. Music and song are one of the most popular forms of storytelling. Filled with lyrics, melody, and tone, musicians and composers are able to express their thoughts and what they are feeling. A special event was recently held for the Buffalo Boys Drum Group, as they were able to share the music that they create and what it means to them.
The Buffalo Boys drum group are sharing their story on stage through songs crafted by its members. Being in front of an audience is nothing new for the group from Mother Teresa Middle School. For a decade, they have shared their songs and talents at school, on the Powwow Trail, and everywhere else in between.
We're very, very humbled and honored to be asked to come and do this. For us to showcase what we do at the school and in our drum circle is important to us because we believe there's a space for everybody in our drum group.
During a recent performance at the Mackenzie Art Gallery, members gave monologues, sharing more about themselves, the group, and how being together has been a life-changing experience.
I feel like it's important to show that our culture is able to come and sort of ground the kids in a way that they wouldn't have had the same opportunity.
The drum group is now a flagship program being offered at Mother Teresa Middle School. The program is open to all students, creating unique space for students to find a place of belonging, and there is an open door policy for past members looking to practice and work with the younger members.
It's been a while since I've danced or sang with the group, so I feel better being around them. Trying to keep it alive my best, it's always important to share with other people.
When the Buffalo Boys first started, they received strange looks and sometimes uneasy welcomes, with some wondering what exactly they were doing. Now, the reason for the drum and songs is more well known and welcomed at all kinds of events. Some of the founding members look back on those times and know how far they have come.
It's always fun to go out and just be ourselves on stage. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm sure that everyone in our drum group would say the same.
There are no plans of slowing down as the next Powwow Trail begins in just a few weeks.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Officials with U.S. tech giant OpenAI have been summoned to Ottawa to answer why they didn't flag concerns to police about the Tumble Ridge shooter until after the killing spree. Judy Trin has the details on what questions the cabinet ministers will ask.
7 months before the killing spree in Tumbler Ridge, ChatGPT identified an account linked to shooter Jesse Van Rutselaar for abuse and enforcement, but it did not notify police until after the rampage.
It looks like OpenAI had the opportunity to prevent this tragedy, to prevent this horrific loss of life.
Parent company OpenAI says it followed internal protocols, but the case did not meet its threshold to alert police because OpenAI did not identify credible or imminent planning.
I'm hoping that the OpenAI safety officials, when they come to Ottawa, tell us more details about their safety protocols, their escalation thresholds, and how they keep Canadians safe.
Van Rutselaar killed 8 people. 6 of the victims were children. After the shooting, OpenAI proactively reached out to the RCMP to provide additional information.
It's important that we give them the time and the space to be able to do a thorough investigation on all aspects of what's happened.
But for AI experts, the killer's use of ChatGPT reinforces the need for strong legislation to rein in the technology.
They are barreling forward with the deployment of new tools and features and technologies without properly considering the broader safety implications of their products. And until we force them to do so, that will continue to be the trend.
The federal government is working on an online harms bill, but still deciding what content should go into the legislation. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, the RCMP arrested the brother of the Tumbler Ridge shooter. Jacob Van Rutselaar was wanted on Canada-wide warrants for attempted murder in connection with an incident in Fort McMurray, Alberta in 2024. A 22-year-old was arrested on Friday in Sylvan Lake, Alberta. Van Rutselaar is the older brother of Jesse, who killed 8 people on February the 10th. Well, the U.S. president's new global tariffs kicked in today at 10%. The White House says it's working to increase that to 15%, as Donald Trump stated over the weekend. The new duties were imposed after a U.S. Supreme Court ruling struck down some tariffs brought in last year. Canadian goods that fall under the free trade agreement will not be impacted. Critical talks aimed at avoiding war between the United States and Iran are set to take place in Geneva on Thursday, but that isn't stopping the U.S. from building up its forces in the Middle East. The U.S. has moved the world's largest aircraft carrier, the Gerald R. Ford, to a NATO base on the island of Crete. It will join a large military presence, including the carrier Abraham Lincoln, several guided missile destroyers, fighter jets, and surveillance aircraft that has been moved to the Middle East in recent weeks. U.S. military forces also boarded a third sanctioned oil tanker in the Indian Ocean. The vessel in question was under U.S. sanctions connected to Iran. Well, the House of Commons held a moment of silence today as Ukraine marks 4 years since the start of the Russian invasion. President Zelensky met with top European leaders in Kyiv, praising the resistance and promising to fight on. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has more on a promise by Canada to stand by Ukraine for the long term.
Every morning at 9 a.m. sharp, Ukrainians stop in their tracks. A moment of stillness and silence that today, 4 years after Russia's invasion began, was more powerful, and the world was watching.
We want to end this war as quick as possible. And really, each day we do all we can.
A big part of that work is rallying the international community and trying to reconcile differences like the future of Russian-occupied Ukrainian land that's brought the U.S.-brokered peace deal to a halt.
Until the American government, with its military might and economic might, puts pressure on Russia rather than on Ukraine, I don't think we're going to see a successful peace deal.
Since February 2022, an estimated 1.8 million soldiers on both sides have been killed, wounded, or gone missing, and some 5.9 million Ukrainian civilians have left the country. Marina Shum came to Canada in April 2022 and says Ukrainians at home and abroad remain united and resilient.
Victory will be on our side, that's for sure. The international law has to prevail and has to win at the end of the day.
The Canadian government offering Ukraine $2 billion in military assistance, as well as more than 400 armored vehicles. Canada is also renewing its military training mission, Operation Unifier, for 3 more years.
It's a pivotal moment in our country's history, but also in the history of Ukraine and Europe.
Canada also announced new sanctions targeting what the government says is 100 vessels in a shadow fleet attempting to evade sanctions on the sale of Russian oil. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
And actor Robert Kering has died at the age of 71. He was best known for his roles in Revenge of the Nerds and the father of Hilary Duff's character in Lizzie McGuire. In a statement to Deadline, his family says he struggled with bipolar disorder, and they hope his story can eliminate the stigma around mental illness. Hilary Duff released a statement saying she was grateful for the warmth he showed her on set.
Coming up, the revitalization of an old school to help Regina Public Schools rebuild its music program.
Tomorrow on Your Morning Saskatchewan, with winter roads still impacting drivers, we'll check in with SGI on how to stay safe. It all starts at 6.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at that beautiful sky cam. I love how we can see the sunsets at this time of the year. In terms of Regina's current temperature, we're seeing a -14 with those wind speeds sitting at a low 11 kilometers. It is expected to pick up later into tonight and going into tomorrow. In terms of the weather today, again, not much active weather was happening in majority of the province if we take a look at that radar and satellite. As for what is to come tonight, if you can see for leading into the evening, those clouds are just going to continue rolling over for the rest of the night in terms of majority of the province. As we head into tomorrow around that evening time, that chance of flurries are going to be appearing in the northern end of the province, along with Wynyard, Saskatoon area, as well as Yorkton, Hudson Bay can expect some of those flurries to come through. In terms of Thursday, the snow will appear. If you look at that purple patch right there, that is that snow kind of hovering over. In terms of the green and pink, that's kind of that freezing rain. So again, the swift current should be mindful of that. In terms of how much snow is expected to come, we're seeing about that 3 to 5 centimeter range in majority of the province. La Ronge seeing 4 centimeters, Prince Albert 2 centimeters, Saskatoon about that 1 centimeters. Regina not expecting to see that range at all, actually, for snow. Coming into Thursday, later in the week, I should say Friday evening, that is going to pick up a bit on the northern end of the province. In terms of your forecast tonight, La Ronge can expect to see a low of -21 with those flurries expected to come. La Ronge -23, Lloydminster -12, and Prince Albert a low of -22. As for your forecast tonight in North Battleford, a -16, and for tomorrow, a high of 2. Saskatoon will see a low of -21 and a high of 0. Yorkton, a low of -24 and a high of 6. Again, expecting those midday flurries to come in. As for Maple Creek and Swift Current, we will see a low of -7 and -10 and a high of 7 degrees for tomorrow, and Swift Current as well as a high of 4. As for Moose Jaw, tonight low 15 and a high of +2. As for Weyburn, we will see -17 for that low tonight. Tomorrow, -1. Assiniboia, -12, a +3. As for Estevan, a low of -17 and a -1. Regina tonight can expect a low of -19, and with those wind speeds again picking up tonight, we can expect it to feel a bit colder, probably just still in that -20, 22 range. As for tomorrow, it will be back at that 0. In terms of your 7-day forecast in Regina, so Thursday will be the warmest for that week, sitting at that +5. However, with those wind speeds slowly starting to pick up, we can expect it to be a bit colder around that -13 range. As for the low for Thursday will be a -5. As for Friday, we'll see a high of -5 and then a low of -21. Coming into the weekend, we will see those temperatures still slightly drop to a high of -16, a low of -21. And then Sunday, we will see a high of -7 and the lowest being -15. As we head into early next week, should be majority cloudy, but those will have those peaks of sun throughout the day. They are seeing a high of -5 and a low of -10. And for Tuesday, we are going to see a high -2 and a low of -16. So again, those colder temperatures will be sticking around, but it is going to be slightly dropping heading into next week.
Well, we're still into February, I guess. March isn't really, kind of things turn around more so then. So hopefully things will do so when March rolls around.
I hope so, Lee. I think, well, it's kind of spring. Do we get a spring in Saskatchewan?
Sometimes. Sometimes you just go straight to summer.
That's true.
Thanks, Sierra. Well, heading into the 26-27 school year, Regina Public Schools plans to put more focus on musical education, and they're using an old school to help. Damian Smith has that story.
14 years after Dieppe School shut down because of low enrollment, the building will be in use this fall for music classes. This fall, grade 6 Regina Public School students are required to play an instrument at their own school. Those who look to expand their music education will travel to Dieppe for half a day once per week to sharpen their tune.
It is about getting an instrument in every student's hand so they all can be equal and try it out and all be excited at the same moment in time with their classmates.
Teachers are centered, the instruments are kept here, there will be cleaning equipment, etc., instead of what I think is right now a little bit of a willy-nilly arrangement in buildings.
According to Regina Public Schools, under 50% of students participated in the band program since 2022. That number drops to 25% in grade 7 and 17% in grade 8.
I hate to say it, there are schools with very few or almost no students, and you can guess which schools those are. Those are our core schools.
In that same time span, 60% of band students left the program between grades 6 and 8.
The need to really do something different, because again, a 60% attrition rate. Most of you know that if your rating is 100 and it's to 40 in 2 years, you're all fired. Okay? That's reality.
The RPS says the plan will help non-music teachers work more efficiently and allow students to balance their workload.
Classroom teachers cannot predict when our band kids are being pulled out. And so my daughter is frustrated because she loves school and she hates missing new instruction. And so she's constantly trying to struggle to keep up. This is now a predictable model to provide predictability for all classroom teachers.
The RPS will evaluate the new initiative on a yearly basis. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, Rider fans that head to Calgary to watch their team play might notice some changes at McMahon Stadium. WHL, the Swift Current Broncos, who have won just once in their last 10 games, they face a tough test tonight as they host the Penticton Vees.
By Rylance. Now a stretch pass behind the defense. Johnson, a breakaway. Here he is. Scores!
League's newest franchise has the fourth best record in a dub, coming off a 7-3 win over the Regina Pats. Broncos hoping that home ice advantage at the Innovation Plex can kick in. 10 of their 13 wins have come at home. Game time is 7 o'clock. Also tonight, Moose Jaw heads to Calgary to play the Hitmen. Well, if the Riders are going to repeat as Grey Cup champions for the first time in franchise history, the road goes through Calgary this year. The city is hosting a Grey Cup festival at Stampede Park, with the aging McMahon Stadium the site of the big game. But as Jordan Canigan tells us, the stadium will see some upgrades before the players hit the field.
The Grey Cup is coming to Calgary for the 6th time, and it's bringing a big celebration with it.
It gives us a chance to showcase the city of Calgary and everything that we've built over the last 100+ years.
A week-long Grey Cup festival will take place at Stampede Park, with concerts and events slated for the new BMO Centre and Big 4 Roadhouse.
Success is new football fans. We're trying to build that next generation of fan, and that's one of the focuses of the festival as well, so that we can get people engaged to support the Canadian Football League.
It'll bring about 350,000 people and a $50 million economic boost to the city. It'll also bring attention to a stadium badly needing an upgrade.
I think we're all very aware that there are some challenges with the McMahon Stadium, and this certainly highlights that.
But McMahon will see some small upgrades ahead of the big game.
We are building suites in the north end zone, so we'll have 14 more additional suites than we would normally have. The concourses will be built out into the parking lot to create more space for food and beverage and more access, and to make it a safer spot. So there will be a lot of fundamental changes to the stadium.
Still, the provincial government acknowledges it needs more. Either the 66-year-old stadium needs a major refresh or a replacement.
In fact, we struck a committee that I'll be chairing to actually raise all this older sport infrastructure that needs, and the dire needs of support or rebuild or renovations, right? But we need federal support as well to fix our infrastructure in the province.
Calgary will host the 113th Grey Cup on November 15th. Jordan Canigan, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, a Prince Albert retailer wants the city to drop their cap on cannabis stores.
Let's take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. Again, those temperatures are a bit colder compared to last year. If we take a look at Hudson Bay, in the -9 range. In terms of Melfort, we'll see -4. That's the highest we'll see. Again, those midday flurries are expected to come throughout the day. Spirit Road seeing plus, are just sitting at that 0, I should say. Kindersley, a +2, as well as Lloydminster. Outlook being +1, Watrous 0, as well. Wynyard will see some flurries as well, sitting at a high of -3. If we take a look as well into Kenora, that high of -8, with those chance of flurries throughout the midday. Pilot Butte sitting at that 0. Assiniboia, +3, Maple Creek +7. As for Rockland, +3, Cornack +4, Carlisle high of -4. Let's take a look at what it's going to look like in Cudworth. Majority of clouds throughout the day, as well, with those high wind speeds about the 25-40 kilometer range. We will see a high of -2 though. But yeah, with those wind speeds, it may feel a bit colder, closer to that -13 range, just with those wind speeds increasing throughout the day, but should be good to go in terms of those conditions.
Well, it was a rewarding night at Yorkton City Hall as the city recognized the recipients of the 2025 Civic Recognition Awards. Awards in 3 categories were given to those who have made meaningful contributions to the Yorkton community through leadership, volunteering, service, and community involvement. Recipients were nominated by family members and the wider public and were selected by a 3-person committee. In the adult category, the city recognized Tom Weir for his efforts in local organizations, his academic achievements, and community involvement. The Lions Club was recognized as a group for their long-standing service to the area and community building initiatives. And the Youth Recognition Award was given to Danica Kiowski, a 17-year-old who spends every waking hour volunteering and would like to become an aerospace engineer one day.
It's a resume builder, and it shows that I'm really committed, and when I have something that I want to do, I work until I get it done.
Now, Yorkton's Mayor Aaron Keenley said the ceremony is a chance to celebrate people and organizations who keep showing up for Yorkton and hopes it will inspire others to plan an active role in the community. A Saskatchewan cannabis retailer is taking possession of a Prince Albert building in hopes that the city will amend bylaw to allow a 4th store in the community. Into the Weeds co-owner Megan Palawar-Valarez addressed City Council Monday evening, requesting the city re-examine its cap on cannabis retailers. The business had approached Council in November asking for an increase to the cap, but Council said it would not be able to re-examine the bylaw by the date Into the Weeds suggested, which was initially December the 15th. Now, Into the Weeds said it will take possession of the building on March the 1st.
I'm excited with moving forward in any capacity, and I guess we will assume the business risk and hope for the best.
Other cities in the province have eliminated their caps on cannabis stores, and that includes the city of Regina. Well, a man from Surrey, BC thought he was making a routine sale on Facebook Marketplace, but what happened after the buyer walked away left him stunned. The exchange was caught on camera, and police have issued a warning they want everyone using online marketplaces to hear. CTV's Dimitra Maragos has the story.
Kuljinder Dhaliwal says late last week he posted this ad on Facebook Marketplace for his computer.
I want to sell it for $2,000, and this guy approached me.
He says as an active Facebook Marketplace user, there were no red flags.
He said, could you negotiate? I said, sure. He said, could you take $1,850? I said, yes. Take a cash? I said, yeah, no problem.
Dhaliwal has several cameras outside of his home, he says, to protect himself.
I got 3 cameras in front of my house. Yeah, and all 3 catch him.
The transaction happened on Sunday, and it was captured on video. You can see the man here walking up to Dhaliwal's home. They made the exchange inside the home, then the man left.
So this is all the money he gave it to me.
He says something wasn't sitting right.
That's a lot of money in one person's hand.
Dhaliwal says soon after the transaction, he came to this bank to deposit the money. What happened next, he says, made his heart drop.
I tried to deposit it, and the ATM shows that all the money is unrecognizable.
CTV News went back to the bank with Dhaliwal. It happened again.
I know it's a lot of money to lose, right? I was shocked that I thought I was very smart, but scammers cannot outsmart anyone, right?
It's a very unfortunate and hard lesson for the victim to learn.
Dhaliwal says he filed a police report with SPS. They recommend checking the buyer's profile, look for what you think might be fake photos, and look at what the seller or buyer's history of items is. Most importantly, they say document everything in writing.
Have a record in case something happens and you need to contact the police.
Dhaliwal says he wants to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
I just want to aware for other people who buy or sell on a marketplace, just be aware of and watch out these scams and scammers. Hundreds.
Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Surrey.
All right, let's take a look at your canola street price for today. It's up $1.20 to $630.03 per ton, while the futures price is up $3.20 to $680.20 per ton. Amber durum wheat stays the same, $278.59 per ton, while red spring wheat is up slightly by 2 cents to $264.88 per ton. There's the feed barley, $232.01 per ton. Flax sitting at $650.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge. As for the markets, the TSX went up 193 points. The Dow Jones, after that drop yesterday, went up by 370 points. As for the Canadian dollar, well, it went down very slightly, 0.02 of a cent to 72.99 cents U.S. On the commodity front, gold down $83.57. West Texas Intermediate crude went down slightly by 5 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude jumped up by 11 cents to $51.53 a barrel. So does that affect the gas prices? Not yet. Currently sitting everywhere at $1.27.9 per liter in Regina.
First up, the Bank of Nova Scotia, which topped estimates on better-than-expected results. Scotiabank saw earnings growth across all divisions, including domestic banking, wealth management, capital markets, and international divisions. The Toronto-based company has been slashing expenses to improve operations and says earnings growth should accelerate in 2026. Thomson Reuters saw its biggest intraday gain since October of 2008 today. This comes after the company says it reached 1 million professional users on its legal and business AI tool. The Toronto-based company says it's also working with Anthropic's Claude model, as well as OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. And Advanced Micro Devices has secured a second major AI chip supply deal, this time with Meta. AMD says it has agreed to sell up to $60 billion worth of chips to Meta over the next 5 years. In addition, Meta also plans to buy central processors and will also receive warrants to buy 160 million AMD shares. And those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, Will Trent at 7 o'clock, followed by Best Medicine. Then we have 3 episodes of Big Bang, E-Talk at 10:30, National News at 11, and then Connor Chen will have your local news again at 11:30. Sierra, I learned a new dance mode from one of our producers, Brenna. It's called Sexy Street Jazz.
Wow.
Don't know if they're going to perform this type of dance at the Sask Jazz Fest, but they have announced that their first ticketed artists to play at the festival this year.
Modest Mouse is set to take the stage at Victoria Park on July 7th. The American indie rock band will perform at 9 p.m. that night. Philadelphia-based Snack Time is also scheduled for that evening at 7 p.m. and Canadian singer and songwriter The Naysayers will perform with their 3-piece band starting at 5:30 that afternoon. Sask Jazz Fest runs July 5th to 11th. Additional headlining acts will be announced in the coming weeks. Tickets for today's announced artists are on sale now.
Of course, they changed their name to just Sask Jazz Fest as according to Saskatchewan Jazz Festival. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As for astronomers, you like space, right, Lee?
I do love space.
Astronomers say they have solved one of Saturn's greatest mysteries.
Yes, they say they have figured out how Saturn's largest moon, Titan, came to be. So after analyzing data from various sources, researchers theorize that about 500 million years ago, a lost moon collided with Titan and became part of it. The collision could also have led to the formation of Saturn's beautiful rings hundreds of millions of years later. The study was published this month in the Planetary Science Journal, which I get every month.
My dad's first dog was named Titan. Fun fact for you, because, you know, names are cool.
Names are cool.